Hi guys, I'm Karen Blacher. Sorry I haven't posted a tutorial in a while. Things have been rather crazy around here. And I am also sorry that I look a mess. I am dying of allergies right now because it's shedding season and I have a cat. So I thought about touching up my makeup before I filmed the tutorial, and then I decided really it's just a lost cause. I'm going to look a mess anyway. But then I'm going to look pretty because I'm going to do something pretty on my face. So, you know, it's all good. I decided that for my next couple of tutorials, I thought I'd do back to basics and do some of the most popular designs, the ones that all of you, I'm sure, already have your own versions of, like butterflies and Spider-Man, but designs that we all kind of have in our toolbox and we all do a little differently. So tonight I want to show you a butterfly mask. I have two different techniques that I like to use for butterfly masks, so I'm going to show you both of them. I'm going to do kind of an asymmetrical butterfly on myself. So I'll show you my sponge technique on this side, and I'm going to show you my one-stroke technique on the other. So why don't I start with the one-stroke technique. For that, I use my 3/4 flat brush and any split cake. I happen to have a pink and blue split, so I'm going to use that. Oftentimes, I actually don't have a split cake for the two colors that I want to use. So what I do in that scenario is I'll still load my brush up with two colors, but I'll do it the stupid way, where I will load it, just to sort of demonstrate with the dry cake here, I would load it on the edge of the cake, so I'm only loading half the brush, and then do the same thing with the other half of the brush on a different cake. It's time consuming and it's it's not ideal, but it gives you a wider variety of colors to choose from. So since I don't have many split cakes, I do often find myself doing that, which is why I switched to the sponge technique, because it's faster. But let me show you the one stroke. The benefit of the one stroke technique for me, because as I've mentioned in previous tutorials, when I'm painting on children, I really try to avoid painting on the eyelid. I find with the one stroke technique, I can give it a much better shape, and I can control the brush stroke around the eyelid, so I get a nice neat shape around the eye, and it looks much more deliberate than if I do it with a sponge and then come back to touch it up later. So let me show you a one-stroke butterfly wing on this side of my face here. I'm loading up my brush right now in a split light blue, light pink cake. Now I'm all loaded up with DFX pink and light blue. Okay, it doesn't really matter which one's closer to the eye, just make sure that you keep your brush the same way. So holding my brush at kind of a 90-degree angle to the eye, starting right here at the corner, I'm going to run a stroke up and come to a point like so. I do feel compelled to remind you again that I am a woman of very little forehead. On normal people, this design looks better. I'm going to keep doing that from the same starting point here, forming a nice arc around the eye, stopping my line just at the crease to the eyelid there. I'm going to keep running this around till I'm about to the side of the eye, at which point I'm going to do one downward stroke, ending in a point. So I'm turning my brush to end in a point like that. So that is my one stroke technique for setting up a butterfly wing. I will also show you my sponge technique before I come back and do the line work on this, because I do the line work the same way. A cake that I want to make a split cake of and haven't yet is magenta and metallics purple, because I find I do butterflies in those two colors a lot. So I'm going to show you a magenta and metallics purple butterfly on this side of my face. So for this side, I'm going to load up a sponge with my DFX. I said magenta, I meant fuchsia. It looks magenta. So I'm loading up a sponge with my fuchsia. Again, starting from the corner of the eye, I'm going to press much the same way as I did with the brush, only now I'm doing it with a sponge. Because again, I'm trying to maintain that shape around the eye. So, you know, it's very similar, except that it's faster. And again, a small shape down here. Now, of course, the difference is that with the sponge, I do it twice. I come back with my second color, and this is why it's cool that it's faster. I come back with my second color, and I'm going to work that second color in kind of around the edges of the wings, and I'm going to keep flipping my sponge over to really kind of blend it and work that second color in. So both of these techniques give you a nice, like almost airbrushed kind of effect. So those are my two different techniques for setting up a butterfly wing. At this point, I grab a round brush. Depending on my mood, I might go for a 4, I might go for a 1. I think today I'm going to go with a 4. Okay, this is my American Painter 4. I find I used to use the Low Cornell Comfort. Let me show you the difference. This is fatter, even though they're both number 4s. This gives me a longer line. So I'm going to take this one because it actually gives me a little bit more versatility. I'm going to load this up with my DFX Black. Okay. Now I'm going to run a line. I have different techniques for this too. Sometimes I do a teardrop coming down here and another one here, but lately what I've been doing is running a line from the corner of the eye here, nice and light, pressing harder as I go, up all the way to the outer edge of the wing, and I do a swirl. And I'm going to do that on both sides. So starting light, and again, on a normal person you won't run out of forehead doing this. Alright, then with my brush nice and loaded up in that black, I want the black coating all the way down to the base of the brush here. I'm actually going to place the brush almost flat against my skin, and I'm going to wiggle it and then flick in a line. I'm going to do that all the way down the side of the wing. This side is quite messy, I apologize, but you know, messy is good, it looks natural. I'm going to actually kind of feather this in to cover up the fact that that was might messy. Don't worry, it'll look cool when I have the white. Okay. Wow, that's a big difference from side to side, I apologize. I guess it's because of where I have my mirror set up, I'm like blocking my eye when I do this side. You know, rather than mess with this, I think I'm just going to embellish it with white and make it look cool. For the bottom wing, I used to outline it. These days I prefer to just do teardrops. So I do one here, and then 2 smaller ones, like so. Again, this side is coming out much better than this side. But don't knock the one-stroke technique. It's not because it's one stroke, it's because it's my left. Okay. For the center of the butterfly, if I'm going to do a body, and I don't always, sometimes I do a flower crown in the center, and I'll show you that as well, but for now I'm going to show you as if I were doing a body for the butterfly. I do an oval, just by pressing my brush down. Then I press and wiggle to make the body. And I do the same thing for the antenna. I press to make kind of an oval, I come up from it, and then down in a wiggly line. Only I usually have enough paint on my brush when I do it. Okay, sometimes, again, because I don't paint eyelids, I'm always looking for ways to bring out the eyes. Sometimes while I've got the black on my brush, I'll also add a line along, kind of above the eye, sort of a faux eyeliner look, like so. And I bring it in almost directly to the corner of the eye. Okay. Now I'm going to come back in with my DFX white, and I'm going to put some dots of different shapes at the corners of this top wing. But not different shapes, dots are round. I meant different sizes. If I make the black really thick, I'll put them on the black. Like on this side, you'll notice the black is thicker, so on this side the dots are going on the black. I generally only do the corners, but because I've got such thick black here, I'm going to do it kind of everywhere there's black. And depending on the size of the person's face, how much empty space there is, sometimes I'll also embellish with teardrops within the wing in white. Now with me, I don't have that larger face, so I'm going into the eyebrows here, which isn't wonderfully flattering, but to give you an idea of how the teardrops would look. Just kind of filling in empty spaces. I also, while I have the white here, I like to add a white dot in each of the antennae. And sometimes I'll put a little kind of shine on the body too. It's like a little highlight. You can also, when you do this eyeliner look on the eye, it looks kind of cool if there's a white line underneath the black. Sort of accentuates the eye more. Ideally, if you're going to do that, you should lay down the white before the black, but I generally am doing white last and I don't like to use it twice, so I do often put it in after. And there you have it. A butterfly, 2 ways. Now, you know I'm me, so I would normally add glitter to this. I'm going to let you imagine the glitter because I'm going to shoot another tutorial after this and I don't want my entire face and wardrobe to glitter. But there is my basic butterfly mask. Oh, and I did tell you I would show you a flower variation on it. So let me show you that very quickly. The thing I sometimes do is I put in kind of a daisy crown in the center, in colors that coordinate with whatever color I did the butterfly in. So for this I would do pinks or purples. Now this is a basic one-stroke flower technique. If you want to learn how to do it, I'm not real consistent on it. Lisa Joy Young, hers is the channel to watch. She does it beautifully. She is the one I learned it from. She is much better at it than I, but hopefully tonight's flowers will come out okay. So I'm loading my brush up in white and then tipping it in a darker color. I'm going with my fuchsia here because that color is in at least 1/2 of my butterfly. And I'm going to test on my hand because, like I said, I don't always get this right. It'll do. You hold the brush at a 90-degree angle to the face, press, and release. See, now my pink just blends right into the white. When she does it, she gets this beautiful, pristine white flower with pink in the middle. Once in a while I get it, but it still works. I would set flowers going up. Sometimes I'll actually, halfway through, I'll tip in a different color just to give some variation. But I'm going to do that, but I want to space these flowers out a bit. See, now I'm getting the nice white flowers with the pink center. Maybe I'm just loading up my brush too much. I'll get it eventually, Lisa. I pay attention. Alright, now I've got some pink flowers. I'm also going to toss in some purple ones. So I'm just going to reload my brush here. Okay, once I've got my flowers laid down, I come back with my skinnier brush with my DFX white. I add a white center to each flower. So this is more of like a fairy mask if you do the butterfly wings with the floral crown. I'm adding some dots at the end of the crown. Again, this would make more sense on someone with more forehead. But I add some dots at the end of the crown and some sort of in between too, just as embellishments. Give a little more visual interest. Generally I don't paint people's hair, but you know, looks cool on me. And there's a fairy mask that's essentially a butterfly with flower crown. So those are my variations on the basic butterfly. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you can use it.